What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon for 66cards, and today we're going to debunk the top 3 reasons why Fanatics would want to buy Panini. If you haven't heard, a couple of days ago it came out that Panini was looking to explore a possible sale, and Fanatics was listed as one of the groups or parties that might be interested in buying them. My initial reaction to reading that was, why? Why in 2025 would Fanatics be interested in buying Panini? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If we go to the Italian newspaper Il Sole 24 Ore, whatever that is, where this originated from, you can see that there's not a lot of substance to it. It just says, could be, according to rumors, the US group, the Topps company. Not a lot there. It just says, this kind of makes sense, so maybe. But that didn't exactly inspire confidence in Fanatics and Topps being an actual player to buy Panini. And that is more or less what came out in Collect a day later from the great Ben Burrows, where it said Fanatics isn't interested in buying Panini. And he went through a few reasons why they weren't interested, but according to a couple sources, they are not. And I'm going to go over those reasons in a little bit more detail than Ben did here. The first thing is, there was an offer from Fanatics to buy Panini. It was in 2022. They offered $2 billion. But the key reason why they wanted to pay $2 billion was to buy out the remaining years on Panini's deals, most notably the NBA and the NFL. Well, they've now run out. Those years are done. So the main thing that they're going to pay for is no longer there. The value isn't there. And that's why I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. There are other reasons why Fanatics might want to buy Panini, according to other people in the hobby. And I'm going to go over those right now. The first one is the IP, the intellectual property, the brands that Panini has built up. And you can see there's Donruss, there's Hoops, Court Kings, Flawless, National Treasures, Prism, obviously. And so, yeah, they've built up some brands. But have you looked at the list of brands that Topps has? Because here's what they have from baseball in 2024. You have Bowman and Bowman Chrome, Bowman Sterling, Bowman's Best. You have Stadium Club. You have Topps. You have Allen and Ginter. You have Archives, Topps Chrome, Sapphire, Gilded, Dynasty, 5-Star, Museum, Pristine, Sterling, Transcendent, Triple Threads, Tribute. Like, they already have so many brands that they don't need to buy more. They have enough brands as it is. And so this whole, oh my God, they need to buy Panini so that they can continue the Prism timeline and have that continuity. Well, guess what? Prism didn't exist 13 years ago. So I'm sure we're going to be able to live in a world where Prism doesn't exist now. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, why would Fanatics want to buy Panini and then confuse collectors by having both Prism and Topps Chrome and also Bowman Chrome? You don't need 3 shiny cards with different brands. That doesn't make any sense. There's no need for that. And so that's why this whole Fanatics needs to buy Panini for its IP, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because there are already so many established brands in the Topps portfolio. All right? So that's the first reason. IP, not really. The only ones that would actually make sense are Donruss and Hoops, because those two brands have a legacy that goes beyond the last 15 years. Donruss and Hoops goes back to the 90s and even the late 80s, if I remember correctly. So those two brands might have some value to Fanatics. And so if Fanatics does end up buying the IP, I would say that those are the brands and not Prism and National Treasures and Flawless. Those two would be the ones that I think they would actually hold with some value, not the ones that everybody's talking about. All right, so though that's my spiel on the intellectual property side. Now let's move on to expansion to Europe. There has been a lot of discussion about, well, if they buy Panini, then they can accelerate their growth in Europe. Well, I'm here to tell you they're already doing that. Topps already has the Formula One license. You can see here they have Bundesliga down here, and if you scroll down even further, you can see that they have UEFA. And so they don't have FIFA and some of the other brands, but Topps was willing, or Fanatics was willing to wait out the NFL and the NBA license. What makes you think that they won't wait out the FIFA and the English Premier League and whatever else that they don't have if they were willing to wait out the NFL and the NBA? So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. And then we get to the idea of, well, Panini might have some printing facilities or some logistics team members or whatever that can increase their capacity to print. And to that I say, did you notice that Topps was able to launch Flagship on time right as the season began for the NBA? No problems asked. And then I would also ask you, when was the last time that Panini was able to launch anything on time? Topps and Fanatics were able to launch Topps Flagship on time, on opening day, no problem asked. And that's something that Panini has never been able to do. So why would they need to lean on them to get more production when they're already providing more timeliness and leadership on getting things printed on time than Panini ever did? That also doesn't hold a lot of water to me. And so those three reasons, right? Printing capacity, expanding to Europe, and also the IP, the intellectual property of the brand names, neither of those, or of all of those, make any sense if you dig a little bit deeper. There's no reason to buy any of those three reasons as why Fanatics should buy Panini. They don't make sense if you think about it a little bit further. And so that's why, to me, it doesn't make sense for Fanatics to buy Panini. And so if they do buy something, I think they would just buy the brands to keep Don Russ and Hoops alive, and everything else is kind of gone. Or they get it for literal pennies on the dollar. Like, I'm talking, they're paying less than like 100 million, maybe even less than 50 million to gobble up the names and everything else. Because I honestly don't think that Panini has much to offer Fanatics at this point in time, because they no longer have the licenses, and that is the only thing that Fanatics really cared about. They wanted to get the ball rolling a couple of years earlier. Panini said no, and as they say, congratulations, you played yourself, Panini. And now here you are, up a creek without a paddle. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.